Thank you, Stockholm FinTech, for inviting us to this fabulous panel. We're going to talk about the times of crisis, our partnership strength or potential risk. We have three global panelists here. We're going to go back to Matthias shortly. Matthias Wikström, he's from the economy. We have Amy Neal from MasterCard. And we have Kelly Bueno Martinez from North Mill Bank. So we're going to talk about how they are doing their partnership, and in particular now during the pandemic, which has been challenging for all of us. And we know, we who are coming from the Nordic, that we have a very collaborative business environment. But how is the partnership between fintechs and the corporates doing? That's basically what we're going to dig into. Matthias, he is the CEO of co-founder of the economy. He's based in Stockholm. They are running a global business, and he's going to come back to that. The economy, they provide digital services for everyday climate action that turn your spending into a financial power for sustainable future. Sustainability is a key here. We're going to come back to that. Amy Neal, she's Senior Vice President for FinTech and Enablers. She's the global lead. MasterCard, as you know, is all over the world, and she's based in Dublin. She's been instrumental to MasterCard Start Pat, where they help fintechs or tech companies to scale and accelerate and make an impact on the future. And of course, with the global partnership with MasterCard, there are some issues we're going to discuss about that as well. Kelly Bueno Martinez, she's head of growth, all about scaling at North Mill Bank. And North Mill is a Swedish tech bank developing straightforward and secure financial services for everyone through new technology, innovation, and lots of passion. We're going to come back to the passion thing, because I think they do everything to be as close as customers as possible. I'm Susanna Hannestad, CEO of FinTech Mundi. We help FinTech scale globally. Matthias, starting with you, how has the economy done with partnership during the pandemic? Tell us.
Thank you, Susanna. I think that's a very good question. I think the pandemic has taught us many things, and a lot of, unfortunately, also a lot of individual suffering. But what the pandemic really has showed is that everything is interconnected. And interconnectedness is something that is crucial in working with sustainability, understanding that every action has a reaction. So to the economy, the pandemic has accelerated understanding of that we're in this boat together, and we need to collaborate to do something about it. And in addition to that, it has also accelerated the understanding from our banking partners that one day this pandemic will be over and their clients will ask, what did you do?
The partners you're having, bank partners, they are all over the world. I know you at least have an American. Please tell some of the names you're partnered up with.
Early out was BNP Paribas, represented by Bank of the West in San Francisco. So they were the first bank in the US to launch with us, and they connected it to their 1% for the planet card and account, and had some tremendous success around that. We're also live in Italy with 3 partners. Flowy, Banco Mediolanum was number 1. We recently teamed up with Fin Domestic, part of BNP Paribas Personal Finance, and also Fabric, which is an innovative open banking platform in that space. We're live in the Nordics with Nordea and the Bank of Åland, and we are growing at a fantastic pace, I think. And I hope it's because we're doing a good job, but also that banks are understanding their role to a greater extent in enabling everyday climate action for their users in turn. And in that space, we've had great partnership and collaboration with MasterCard around reaching out and also shaping our offering and tech.
Yeah, I understand you've been part of the MasterCard Lighthouse, and you've also been part of MasterCard Start, Pat. Tell me about the collaboration you had with StartPart, which is a global accelerator program within the MasterCard.
StartPath has been fantastic to us. And that's not only, the traditional kissing up to a big payment company on global level. They're brilliant. I mean, the people that we're working with has coached us both within MasterCard, because it's a complex space. It's a super large corporation with lots of opportunity if you know who to reach out to and who to discuss the different topics with. We've been supported by StartPath, and StartPath has enabled us to understand MasterCard and the ecosystem and the inside of baseball with MasterCard that would have taken us much longer time otherwise. And it's been, it's always, you feel when you're connected with the people that really want to drive sustainable change, and that they share the passion of what we're trying to do. And without that, it wouldn't have worked as great as it has. So both on a personal level and a corporate level, everyone working within the StartPath program has learned a lot.
Fantastic. On that note, Amy, MasterCard is working on quite a lot of partnership, and it would be great if you can share a use case that you would like to highlight of the partnership that you're doing within MasterCard.
Yes, absolutely, Susanna. Thank you for the question. And Matthias, thank you for the words about your experiences. So Matthias is right. Partnership runs deep within MasterCard. We think about partnerships every day, and we try to bring that network DNA that we have, not just to how technology enables partnerships, but how relationships are built. And actually, the StartPath program is a great example of that. We always set out to build it not just as an accelerator program to create partnerships with individual startups, but really to develop an ecosystem of innovators. So for us, the connections of innovators within the fintech community, but also innovators within the traditional banks, the traditional companies, the companies that have been around a long time. Actually, we see it as being a relationship business. It is about people getting together and finding their shared points of connection. And for us over the last year, my goodness, what an horrendous year it has been in so many ways for so many people. But there are a few great examples that I can point to that that thinking that we've always had about partnership being so incredibly important have really come to the fore over the last 12 months. So great example, we have a company that we work with in the US that started out really trying to fix the world of charitable giving. Female-founded company, which is always very nice to see in the fintech space, a company called Good World. And we were able to partner with them in a slightly unusual and really impactful way last year. So the city of Los Angeles came to MasterCard and said, look, we have a lot of people who are really suffering. We need to get aid. We need to get money to these people as quickly as possible. Is there anything that MasterCard can do, being a payments organization? And because we have this long and enduring relationship with Good World, we were very quickly able to pick up the phone, connect with them, and figure out what was the solution that we could build that brought both sides' assets to the table in order to fundraise quickly. So this wasn't actually about aid disbursement from government. It was about fundraising from people who care about other people's suffering. We span up a technical solution in 8 days that got that charitable fundraising campaign up and running, and we were then able to disperse that aid very, very quickly to the people that were most in need. And the reason that I love that case study, it was one city, but it got to scale very, very quickly. The reason I love it is because of the speed in which we were able to do something, because of the history of the partnership that we had, the trust that we built up over time. And that, for me, sort of depicts some of the things that happened last year, where the world was moving very, very quickly. We were all having to respond in real time, and not always using what we had, in our own sweet box, having to think about what others have as well. So, yeah, super important topic. I'm super happy to be here talking about it.
Thank you, Amy. That was a good example with the goodwill thing, and I so agree with the relationship and the trust, and done that before the COVID. You never know when a pandemic and such crisis is coming. So having continued long-term relationship, I think, is key to that. On that note, Kelly, you and your company, bank, is growing quite rapidly. And how have you seen the opportunities and the challenges with the partnership during the pandemic?
Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, I think we have to say that the pandemic has been obviously an extraordinary situation which has affected everyone. And my thoughts definitely goes to those who have lost someone and to all the people standing at the forefront fighting this every day. So it's of course very troublesome and sad to see the effect this has had as society on society as a whole. But looking at specifically North Mill and how this has affected our growth agenda, well, I would say that of course it's had an impact. I mean, looking at our background, we have always we've grown organically and we've been profitable since day one. So that in combination with always trying to have a long-term perspective and a sustainable business model, all that in combination has made us manage quite well. We have been able to continuously invest in our ongoing operations with the aim to continue building, strengthening all the parts of our organization. So in this sense, we have had the opportunity to continue to focus on the core and the structure of our business, which has enabled us to keep on scaling and growing. But of course, on the other hand, the pandemic has created an extremely uncertain macroeconomic climate. And in line with recommendations from both governments and our own assessments, and also as many other companies have chosen, we have had quite a more, I would say, cautious approach, I guess would be the right way to describe it. We've implemented the different safety measures, and we've increased, for instance, monitoring of operations. But tying this back to the whole partnership aspect, however, I would say that we have always been very thorough in our discovery phase and analyzing the partners when we choose to go into a partnership, ensuring that there's always a long time perspective. And sometimes this might have the effect that it takes some time, but I feel that it's always been worth it because we could not rely, for instance, on actors whose businesses have not matured enough or whose technology might be obsolete in a year or two. So that part is super important. And once we have that in place and choose to go into a partnership, we can see it as a long-term perspective, and then we can take this journey together and face the challenges as well as the positive aspects or opportunities that arises. And at the same time, having this aspect and perspective on things allows us to continue to focus again on what we do best, which is product development. So given that we've had this focus all along, we have felt very confident throughout the pandemic that we can face the challenges with our current partners. Today, we are a neobank, but we are also a product and tech organization. So despite the pandemic, we have been able to be centered on the product development, which has enabled us to go to market with new products and ensuring we keep focus on, of course, product development, as mentioned now, but also our customers, which are at the center of what we do. So we want to offer them what they need and be the most relevant bank for them.
Any partners you would like to reveal that you're working closely with?
Yeah, I have a few examples. So Snowflake, for instance, we actually have a keynote during Stockholm FinTech Week with Snowflake and our CTO, Tobias Palmborg. Also AWS, Tink. So I think those are a few great examples.
Super. That's a lot of positive side on the partnership and the opportunities. Amy, are there any risk? You coming from a big global corporate organizations, the two others here, they are getting there, but they are younger than MasterCard. What are the risks?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is important to think about risk because partnership is this key trend in fintech. It's talked about an awful lot. There are a lot of, it's sort of a buzzword around the fintech space that partnerships are important. But I think that what we're experiencing is that it's more than a buzzword. It is genuinely real. The amounts of partnership opportunities that we see are increasing hugely. And therefore, I think Kelly makes some really good points there about going in with a careful mind as well as an open mind when you embark on partnerships. When I think about the risks, we're talking about different players coming together and bringing different types of equity and contribution to the table. Increasingly, we're seeing very large organizations with long histories collaborating with small, younger, more nimble organizations. And there are different incentives, there are different timelines, there are different approaches to developing relationships, and all of that needs to be managed for, and all of that can bring risk with it. in MasterCard, what we talk about is, in everything that we do, we talk about bringing a decency quotient. As well as our IQ and our EQ, we bring the DQ. And I think that by going into partnerships with a very clear and open and transparent objective, so that your partner knows what you're seeking out of an engagement, and they in turn are able to share that, I think that there's a lot of things that can be overcome. It's great to hear Matthias talk about the engagement with MasterCard through StartPath, but that is one of the things that we try to do with all of our StartPath partners, is sit down initially and map out all of the areas of opportunity, but very carefully describing why they are areas of opportunity for both sides. What is the ultimate objective, so that people aren't spinning their wheels and aren't wasting time. So I think that, that for me is key, recognizing that there will be points of difference, but at the end of the day, we're aiming for our own individual North Stars, and hoping that by doing it together, we'll achieve even more.
That's great. The decency, I loved very much. The DQ, that was a new word for me. Super duper to introduce that with the two others. You mentioned the time span. The big corporations, they have a lot of silos still that needs to be involved and so forth. And then for the nimble fintechs to get through there, not knowing all the rules. That's and the culture within the corporate, they want to go fast, they want to have a win-win, of course, and then much more agile compared to the conservative corporate world. Anything on the timeline that has changed during the pandemic? Has it gone faster?
So I think that we have witnessed that things have definitely gone faster over the course of the last year. People have been very, very focused on execution. And with execution comes speed, the need for speed. Getting things into the market requires speed. And so I think that we have seen that things have speeded up. Decision making has flattened somewhat. Which has meant that we've been able to move faster. And I'm really excited about that, because I think that has also shown us, how we can continue that speed, how we can keep going at pace and take some of the learnings from the last 12 months, try to start seeing what the positives are, not just for what we've delivered this year, but for our practices going forward, which I think is really exciting.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Pushing the corporates on the timeline, and then they realize it's not a high risk as they thought it was, and maybe that is making the corporations more agile as well. And then going over to sustainability, Matthias, the economy is all about sustainability. And how is that built up together with the partnership? You mentioned MasterCard, of course, and some of the bank end, but how is it working for you to get this out to the customers?
Really well, actually. I think building on what Amy was saying around the innovators earlier, I think what it comes down to is that for us, it's shown that this is a great opportunity around responsibility. A lot of banks in the world understand that they need to step up to responsibility in a new way and engage their users, because there's no point in being the one responsible, parent in the room. We need to all face the actions that we need to do, and a lot of that has to do with education. But coming back to Amy's point, I think it also has a lot to do with innovation. So what we have seen is that what has really distributed our idea in the world is that we've been able to innovate and also collaborate in order to activate and, further to Amy's point, accelerate the activation. And that is all about the capacity building in regard to building this network of alliance of the willing, of banks willing to lead the way and say, guys, we need to do this. We need to do it. More importantly than that, we need to do it together. And this is how we contribute to having you understanding the impact of your lifestyle choices manifested through consumption. Because most people trust financial services. Financial services industry is extremely efficient and has been building their competitive edge on efficiencies and tech for the last many years. And what I think we see now in the light of the pandemic is that more and more understand that we can direct the efficiencies of the financial system to cater for the fragilities of the ecosystem. And that is something that I would have expected would take a longer time, but it has really taken off. So for us, I wouldn't, coming back to Kelly's word on we must remember that this is a tough time for a lot of people in the world, suffering tremendously, and people working their butt off day and night to take care of those that need it. So, but to us, it almost feels a little bit like bad taste to say, but to us, it has really accelerated our business and the partnerships around it, because more and more has reached out. I think before the pandemic, maybe we were in 90 conversations around the world. Now, 6 months later, we've doubled that number. And that's all banks reaching out to us. So we're trying to take care of them in the best of ways to support them in their sustainability efforts and to enable their users to understand their impact. Just to avoid ending up in another pandemic years from now. And that's where the interconnectedness comes to play.
And there is a bridge, not necessarily directly, between the pandemic and the climate crisis. So it's a lot to be done there. And now it seems like the climate crisis is needs to be done something. And the US is coming back, helping out for the total world to do something there. So I think both these issues are vital to take care of. Going on to you, Kelly, going forward, scaling a partnership, how do you see the future for Northmill?
Yeah. So what kind of partnerships? I mean, broadly speaking, trying to kind of boil it down somehow, because it's a broad question what you want in a partner. I would say that what we look for is definitely we're looking into product companies, that they should be product companies themselves with the product set up. Fast release cycles, progressive, proactive, curious, fast-paced. And also that they are aiming to achieve long-term growth, and that it could be someone that we can scale with, obviously. I think sharing this common vision and understanding the reality of the industry really is key, because in many cases you're doing this journey together. And as we often highlight, speed is very important, but having the technology that support it and also the relationship with the partner themselves is also key. And understanding how both parties can benefit from that and working together, I think that is the most important part in it. And that also leads me to the second point, which is the mindset and the culture. Those are also extremely important aspects for us when looking for partnerships. So, for instance, the example from previous question, Snowflake, they are a good example of that, because we're both companies that challenge the status quo in our industry. We challenge established structures, and we also challenge traditional solutions. So in this, there's quite a clear match in the attitude and drive that we have. So with that said, I think that being curious and never afraid of an outside or new perspective on things is one of the things that also drives us. So that's the way we see that we can make sure that our business is going to keep being at the forefront. In this, partnerships obviously play a huge role. So it doesn't have to be companies that are active specifically in financial services. It could be really anything. It can be social media platforms, streaming services, anything. I mean, we want to scale and we want to grow and we want to be in several countries within the next few years. So partnerships will play a crucial role in that. And therefore, we are very curious and open about any new discussions. So it's all about being able to focus again on the product development and our customers and offering them the best banking experience.
Super duper. Thank you, Kelly. Collaboration is the new innovation. Amy, how is MasterCard going forward in this, hopefully, post-pandemic time?
So, as I've said, we've established initiatives to partner with fintech for a very long time, not just StartPath, but we have our Engage program for product partnerships. We have the FinTech Express rails for companies that want to pay using MasterCard. We have the Lighthouse here in the Nordics, of course, and there's a ton more to come. But maybe one initiative to help our listeners understand how we think about partnership and how collaboration is the new innovation is our Priceless Planet Coalition. It links back to the sustainability piece that Matthias was talking about. And through our engagement, Matthias and Deconomy are a really important partner in the Priceless Planet Coalition. This is really, I think, hugely important for innovation in that it is bringing together disparate partners around a single cause, and then using that single cause to think about how we all innovate together. all of the partners are signing up to an intent around sustainability and committing to that intent, committing to put campaigns into market, committing to put new products into market. And that is then driving innovation in a whole set of new ways, not just in the things that the consumer will experience, but even in the ways that organizations will collaborate together. So that for me, I think is, just an indication of how partnership being all about collaboration, and that being the new innovation. Priceless Planet Coalition materializes all of that in one great initiative. So lots more to come though, Susanna. For sure.
We will look forward to that. Matthias, on a short note, dream scenario for Doconomy with partnership.
I would say that the dreams around partnership for Doconomy is that when everyone collaborates in mitigating the risk that we have created together, then we have enabled the greatest partnership of all. And that is mutual responsibility dependent on insights that in our term is data driven. Coming back to what Amy said, I think the Priceless Planet Coalition is a good starting point for just that, because it's the aggregation of many ambitions to achieve together a greater good. And I'm curious to see where that leads, because I'm super excited about it, and I'm super excited about the variety of partners in that partnerships. I would like to be right now sitting 15 years from today and looking back and saying like, wow, that's how it started. That would be super cool. That would be super cool.
Let's meet for a panel then, and then we can sum it up. On a reflection note, yeah, exactly. I love to that. Kelly, on a reflection note, post the pandemic, long-term changes for your company, what do you see?
Well, I mean, what we want to do is we want to continue to grow, but at the same time maintaining profitability. And we look very positively at opportunities to do so, as long as we continue to be inspired and curious. And a crucial aspect of that is keep interacting with our customers, keep finding inspiration in everyday life, and talking to people, users, everyone, and incorporate those insights into our product development. Our vision is to be the most intelligent and relevant neobank in Europe. That's what we want to work towards, and help people improve their financial lives. So, I mean, imagine being able to manage your entire financial life on a personalized feed, join communities that suit you, support the charity you want, to be able to follow, improve, and control your financial health in one place. That is relevant as a long-term goal. And to succeed, again, we need to work on interacting with the customers and the people, because consumers are in the driver's seat today, and they are becoming stronger and stronger. In the short term, we are planning quite a lot of exciting things. We're planning the launch of a debit card. We recently just launched in the Norwegian market, entering there. And we hope that there will be more countries during the year. And we're also exploring the PFM, so personal finance management segment. So there are several exciting product launches in that area in the near future to expect from us.
Fantastic, Kelly. Thank you to all of you. On a closing note, I would say collaboration is the new innovation, and you have just demonstrated that partnership is essence to scale, to sustainability, to impact all over the world. So good luck with all your plans and dreams and long-term sustainability. Thank you very much, and thank you very much to Stockholm FinTech Week. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.